Moscow and Kyiv signed separate agreements with Turkey and the UN, clearing the way for millions of tons of desperately needed Ukrainian grain to be exported through the Black Sea.
Europe's soaring temperatures hurt agricultural production and look set to have a knock-on effect on food costs. Travellers in the UK face 6-hour delays at the port of Dover, and officials warn it will only get worse as school holidays begin.
The EU Commission takes legal action against the UK after the lower house of Parliament votes to override post-Brexit trade agreements for Northern Ireland. Delegates from Moscow and Kyiv have signed 2 separate agreements that will allow Ukraine to resume grain shipments and Russia to export cereals and fertiliser, ending a war-type standoff threatening food security around the globe. Brokered by Turkey and the United Nations, the deal will permit 22 million tonnes of Ukrainian grain to safely pass through the Black Sea.
And let there be no doubt, this is an agreement for the world. It will bring relief for developing countries on the edge of bankruptcy and the most vulnerable people on the edge of famine. And it will help stabilise global food prices, which were already at record levels even before the war, a true nightmare for developing countries. Specifically, the initiative we just signed opens up paths for significant volumes of commercial food exports from 3 key Ukrainian ports in the Black Sea: Odessa, Chebanovsk and Yuzhny.
İstanbul'da atmakta olduğumuz
I hope sincerely that the step we took in Istanbul, in cooperation with others, leads to peace and becomes a new turning point. It doesn't matter how the war ends in the field. Peace will only be available at the negotiation table.
Often described as the breadbasket of Europe, millions of people from developing countries depend on Ukrainian cereals, which have been stagnating in heavily packed silos since the war began. While ships passing through the Bosporus Straits will undergo inspections to ensure that they are not carrying weapons, officials in Kyiv insist Russian ships cannot escort Ukrainian vessels.
Europe is staring into one of its driest summers in living memory. Drought alerts have been issued for much of the continent, and a brutal heatwave is straining agricultural production and nature's resilience. Portugal's apples and Rocha pears are bearing the brunt of this new reality. It gets burnt like this and has no commercial value, farmer Pedro Bernardes says. This will have to be sent to the ground. For us, it's a very considerable drop in income. Portugal's soaring temperatures have burned tons of fruit, particularly in the west zone near the capital, Lisbon. The ongoing drought in Romania has made potatoes there more expensive. In central counties, it has rained very little, and the potato is a plant that requires plenty of water to reach maturity. And in the south of the country, cracked earth is drying up corn crops. 500 hectares have been completely destroyed in the Midday region. The current heatwave is scorching fields, with no signs of rain to come. Travellers in the UK have been warned that the traffic gridlock in Dover, which led to 6-hour queues yesterday, could get worse this weekend. The chaos Foreign Secretary Liz Truss blamed on France, calling on the country to act over what she described as entirely avoidable delays. But Paris denies that its border was unprepared. A top official says an unforeseen technical incident in the Channel Tunnel prevented some Dover border booths from being staffed. Millions of people in Britain are trying to begin their vacations this weekend, but they will face disruptions by road, sea, rail and air. Protesters against high fuel prices say they are planning rolling roadblocks, while rail workers have also staged nationwide strikes over pay and conditions.
The European Commission is taking legal action against the UK for failing to comply with key parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol. This time, Brussels has launched 4 new complaints on the back of 3 infringement procedures launched against the UK in June. However, experts fear a trade war is on the horizon as the British House of Commons passed a bill on Thursday scrapping some of the rules governing the deal with Brussels.
We have an international agreement signed and ratified by both sides. There should be no UK bill currently going through Parliament. We are supposed to be implementing this protocol together. And that's why we believe that the simple fact that a law has been introduced in order to unilaterally change the way the protocol works is inappropriate and is linked to the infringement that we have presented today.
In the debate on this.
The Commission says the UK government has repeatedly ignored calls to find joint solutions on custom checks and is calling on Westminster to take immediate action.
Do I consider this to be legal?
If the UK does not comply within 2 months, the Commission could take the matter to the European Court.
Have it. The ayes have it.
Former Irish soldier Lisa Smith has been sentenced to 15 years in prison for allegedly joining ISIS. Smith, who converted to Islam, moved to Syria after Muslims were called to travel to the Islamic State by terrorist leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The 40-year-old pleaded not guilty to the charges. However, the Special Criminal Court found her not guilty of a second charge of funding terrorist activities.
No green light for unvaccinated healthcare professionals to return to work. On Friday, France's Public Health Department said it was opposed to bringing back people who'd not had the jab against COVID-19. Despite ongoing staff shortages, the authority said that with daily new cases still high, it would be a dangerous move to make. In France, it became mandatory last September for healthcare workers to be vaccinated or face suspension, but the debate continues to make waves. In the National Assembly, opposition MPs on Thursday voted in favour of reinstating unvaccinated caregivers. It's not clear exactly how many healthcare workers have not had the jab. The French Hospital Federation puts that figure at less than 0.5%, or nearly 5,000 professionals. France is not the only country in Europe maintaining its suspension of unvaccinated professionals. In Italy and Greece, the vaccine remains mandatory, at least until the end of the year. Spain, Britain, Belgium and the Czech Republic prefer to encourage rather than make the jab mandatory. In Germany, some regions have implemented restrictions, but fewer than 100 caregivers have been sanctioned nationwide.
Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Moscow is hoping that Britain's next Prime Minister will lean towards a more balanced rhetoric towards Russia. The UK's outgoing leader Boris Johnson has been a strong supporter of Ukraine since Russia invaded the country in February. Poised to replace Johnson, a former Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, who've made it to the final round of the Conservative Party leadership election. As they get down to the final stretch, the mudslinging has begun, with Sunak describing Truss's plans to borrow to refund tax cuts as socialist, and Truss claiming that Sunak's tax increases have plunged Britain headfirst into recession. The two candidates will battle it out over the summer, hoping to win the support of the Tory party members, with the winner announced on September 5th.
Tibet, with its breathtaking landscapes and millennia-old culture, has come to Rome thanks to the Chinese painter Han Yuan-shen. His works portray spiritual life and its sharp contrast with the high-tech societies of modern China and the West. In the exhibition named Tibet's Splendour and Purity, housed in the Renaissance Palazzo Bonaparte, 40 oil paintings take visitors on a journey through the natural and spiritual beauty of the Tibetan landscape. Sound is Liquid. Wolfgang Tillmann's new exhibition at MUMOC consists of photographs from different periods, ranging from the 1990s to the 2020s. Abstract work contrasted with high-resolution images from the early 21st century's globalised and digitised reality are both on display. The exhibition also includes the video installation book for architects, as well as several recent music videos and tracks. The new objectivity movement, which grew out of Dadaism and Expressionism, was born in Germany after the First World War. The artists and thinkers of the 1920s were aware of their political responsibilities and wanted to represent reality without embellishing it. This exhibition at the Centre Pompidou in Paris presents nearly 900 works and documents, truly showing a movement that crosses all disciplines.